In 1909, two explorers fight to survive after they're left behind while on a Denmark expedition in an ice-covered Greenland. Hey, what's going on, Flix Talkers? Welcome back to another movie review, this time a Netflix original film entitled Against the Ice. Now, this film will be streaming into your homes Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022, and it does star Nicolas Coster-Waldau. Nick, I can't pronounce this name. I'm just gonna put the pronunciation up here now.
Nicolas Coster-Waldau.
Joe Cole and Charles Dance. Now I know what you guys are thinking, and I'm thinking it too because I am currently watching Game of Thrones and we have two Lannisters in this film. But before I do get into this man versus nature film, if you guys do appreciate my content, let me know by liking the video and consider subscribing today. Alright, so I'm gonna let you guys know what I did enjoy or what I thought worked in this film Against the Ice. Starting off with, it is based on a true story. Now, if you guys didn't read the tagline or see the poster for this film, it is brought to us by the producers of Adrift and Everest. Now, he was a director on those two films, both excellent films. I definitely recommend you guys check those two out, especially Adrift. We saw that in theaters and we were bawling, crying at the end of that film. I think this producer and director does a great job when it comes to based on true life films, as far as adapting them from either novels or some kind of writings in history and turning this into a movie. I think sometimes that's a very, very hard feat to do, but just seeing the last couple of movies that he did do, and now seeing this one, I think it's definitely his forte. All right, now another aspect of this film I really did like was the isolation. I think when we think of Greenland, we think of green, right? But we know it's the opposite. It's pure ice as far as the eye can see. And it's an incredible, vast, beautiful surrounding. And just seeing all of that winter wonderland was amazing on camera. Even if the movie did turn out to be a bit dull, which it didn't, I think I would have still enjoyed it just for the surrounding factors. Now, another thing I really did like about this film was that it was a timepiece. So it is set in the early 1900s, the turn of the 20th century. And it's a personal preference, but I do like simpler time movies. And I know there's been a few commentators that don't understand what I mean by simpler times, because I understand there was things like war and depression and so many other bad things happening around that time. So what I mean by simpler times is just that. Times were very, very simple. We didn't have cell phones distracting us with social media. We had to actually go talk to people, and yeah, sometimes that was a gift and a curse. And in this situation, kind of is a curse because you can't really call out to people in your time of need to pick you up when you are stranded. But once again, just a personal preference, because along the way in this movie, you see that they are looking at pictures. They're looking at pictures of women and saying, oh man, I miss a woman's touch. Or thinking of moments with their family and thinking, oh man, I just can't wait to get home to them. Something that seems almost archaic in these times because we have all of that in the palm of our hand. I don't know, it's just really a minute detail, but it really traps me in when they can capture a timepiece that I wasn't born in. Now, next up, another thing that I did like about this movie was the subject nature. I mean, it was a simple expedition. Not simple, but it was a point A to point B, because just saying that, you may think that's really boring, but that's not the meat and potatoes of this movie. The general feel of this movie is character development, how characters get along when they are isolated in negative 40-degree weather, when they're all alone, when there is nothing to do for hundreds of days on end. You really see how the snow and surrounding isolation can do tricks on your brain that you never thought could be possible. Now, next up, I absolutely loved our key players. So that's Einar and Ivar. I know saying it now, it's kind of funny. It almost rhymes. Einar is more seasoned and he's pretty much a hard ass. I mean, he knows what he likes. He trusts his gut feelings and he knows that he is in command. Whereas Ivar, played by Joe Cole, is a mechanic, but he's just there for the journey. This is his first expedition in the Arctic. He's definitely wet behind the ears, not only literally, but yeah, he's really wanting to just jump into the fray and live a little. So I thought that character duality, especially when they do start butting heads and things start going awry, because you can't just be out there in the open and not expect bad things to happen. They do happen. There are some moments that tug at your heartstrings or make you fear for your life. It was really well displayed in this under 2-hour movie. Now, next up, guys, another thing I did like about this film, it's the small attention to detail. So things like when the guys are smiling, their teeth are full of grime and they're yellow. They're out there in the middle of nowhere in the early 1900s. I hate when they show these timepieces and these men have dirt all over their face and they have pearly whites. How is that possible? It's not possible. Stop doing this shit, Hollywood. It really sucks me out of the movie when they do stuff like that. So when I do see stuff like this, it is great and much appreciated. Now, not only the attention to detail on the teeth, but also the skin. People forget that the cold can do so much damage to your skin if you're not protected. And we see all of that with skin blotches, with redness. We see all of that, and it lent that layer of realism that once again I appreciated. Now, I don't want to make this review too long, guys, but I do have a little bit of cons, and it's nothing too crazy because overall I did enjoy this movie Against the Ice, and I definitely am recommending it to you. But if I did have a gripe for this movie, I think they could have added a little more runtime to this. If it was 2 hours and 10 minutes, I would have been totally fine. There are certain situations, and once again, this is no spoiler, I don't believe, we're shown our main characters trekking over hundreds of miles at a time, and sometimes it's almost like it's instantaneous. We don't get to see certain struggles of those hundreds of miles in between. We just end with a scene saying, oh, it's gonna be about a couple hundred miles, and the very next scene, they're already at their destination. So that's a little bit nitpicky, I know, but I think this movie might have been a little better if the runtime was a little longer. I believe it's only clocking in at about an hour and 43 minutes. But once again, just my little gripe. I think for most of you, an hour and 42 is like perfect for something like this. And I would say another gripe of mine is the producer of this film, Baltasar, who also did Everest and Adrift, is a highlight on this poster right here. So they are using his name to sell this film, but it's not directed by him. And I think in some scenes, that's where it does lack, is some of the experience, because this director that is directing the film, Peter Flint, he does not have an extensive resume or a detailed resume of good acclaimed movies like Baltasar. So once again, just a small couple of cons, but it definitely does not outweigh my pros because I had a really good time with this movie. Yeah, I love disaster movies. Yeah, I love Man vs. Wild. So I think those are key factors that you guys have to take into consideration before pressing play on your remote. And I will say by the end of this film, it had so much heart. You were really rooting for these characters because true story or not, they really developed these characters so much that I actually cared whether they lived or died. And all that being said, I think I'm gonna give Against the Ice a solid 4 out of 5, saying you guys should definitely check it out when it hits Netflix March 2nd. All right, Flix Talkers, are you guys gonna check out Against the Ice? If you guys have already, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. And if you guys did appreciate my review, let me know by liking the video and hit that subscribe if you guys aren't already part of the Flix Talk family. All right, guys, till next video, I'm gone. Peace.